Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hole in My Pocket. That is with the W in front and not with the H. So it's WHOLE, Hole in My Pocket. This podcast is about you and I taking a journey on the road of money, how we use money, how we view money, how we think around money. All of those different things are going to help us exercise money more efficiently. And I know I have been guilty of not exercising money in the past efficiently. And hopefully, as you grow older and you educate yourself around money, you can be better equipped to deal with money. So the last show, I just kind of introduced myself and talked to you about some of the things that we would be covering on this podcast. Today, I want to just do a quick little debrief about some terms that I went over last time, and they were kind of fun, comical terms. I didn't want to get too deep into the force with you because a lot of people get intimidated around financial terms. So I tried to keep it really basic, really low end, make it fun, make it simplistic so you can understand. I talked about PC to PC, paycheck to paycheck. We want to get out of that rut. We want to make sure that we have enough funds earmarked and set aside. I was reading something and listening to an individual that was talking to us on Facebook Live about a week and a half ago or so, and he was giving us some financial tools and tips, etc. And I was listening to him, and they said the standard is anywhere between 3 to 6 months of dedicated savings to meet your expenses if you run into a financial rut. You lose your job, you have something traumatic to happen in your life and you need X amount of dollars. Well, those funds are earmarked for you and you can go and tap into those emergency funds. However, because we've been in this pandemic and we've been in this situation now going into year 2, he was saying that it is more necessary, I should say, rather, to have more than 3 to 6 months. They're recommending anywhere between 6 months to 12 months of dedicated expenses set aside. And I thought about that, and I was looking at my situation. I was like, ooh, do I got 6 to 12 months, and should I be doing things differently, etc.? So what I started to do about 3 weeks ago, I started to write down all of my expenses. Now, granted, it's easy because we live in a very transparent world. We live in a very microwavable world where everything is just right at our disposal, right? We got our debit cards, we got our credit cards, we swipe this, we, tap that and go on about our business. But I really wanted to look at what was I doing with my money. And sometimes to get into the nitty gritty and to get into the grassroots of things, it was writing it down. So in my little handy pocket here, and I'm going to show you this, I have a book here. This book shows me everything that I've spent, and it's written down. And so I can go back and I can look at all of these different things that I'm spending my money on, and I have them categorized. Why am I saying that? Why did I point that out to you? I think it's important. It's easy to look at a statement and get glazed over. It's different when you write things down after every transaction, and it's going to make you think. It's like, God, do I want to bring out that pen again and write it down? And do I really need to spend on that? Do I really need to have that expense right now? And it really makes you think about, am I spending my money on the right things? And so obviously you could take your money, you can grow your money, you can blow your money, you can save your money. And I have been guilty of all three. And save your money is good, but sometimes putting it in the wrong place, it's not giving you the type of return. So that's not really good. If you've got $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 sitting around in a savings account, I would venture to say, unless it's for emergencies, you may want to take a look at reallocating those funds into some other investments. Now, if you're blowing your money and you just, hey, we're only going to live once, you know what? You're absolutely right. We are going to live once. But what happens if you run into a situation where you really need that money, but because last week you mismanaged it, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, you are in a financial pickle. So today we're going to talk about financial stress. financial distress. What does that look like? Every one of us, we're at varying levels in our financial education, in our financial understanding. Some understand more about investments, some understand less, some understand, about budgeting, some don't understand that. There's all of these different financial terms and things that you can get into, but just to keep it real basic, what are you doing with your money? And why are you in financial distress? Some of us are in financial distress because we self-induced it. Meaning when we got a windfall, when we got our check, when we got money, when someone sowed a seed into us, we took those funds and we did not allocate them appropriately, or we spent them unwisely, and now we're in a pickle. So look at it this way. Do you realize that anything that you mismanaged normally has a way of saying bye-bye to you? You mismanage your vehicle. You don't put oil in it. You don't get it to the tune-up shop. You don't get it to the repairman. You don't go in for the annual or this semi-annual checkup. It is going to be mismanaged, and you're going to end up losing that vehicle. Okay? If you take care of it, it'll take care of you. Same thing with your money. If you mismanage your money, money has a way of fleeting. Isn't that something? It's like, God, what happened? I just had a $10,000 windfall. And 2 months later, you're like, it's gone. What happened to it? That's why I have the book here, so I can really keep myself on the up and up when I'm out there transacting and maneuvering my money around. And so when you mismanage things, and we could talk about this not only in money, because it has a habit. It follows you. So if you have a habit of mismanaging things, trust me, it's going to affect your money. If you have a habit of mismanaging your time, it's going to affect your money. They say time is money, money's time. So when you look at all of those different things, as you mismanage things, they have a way of fleeting. If you mismanage a relationship, guess what? Been there, done that. I always put that plug in. Check out Wrecked and Certified. You're going to say, see you later to that relationship, or they're going to say, see you later to that relationship. Everything in our lives to be successful is around management. I'm going to say that again. Everything in our lives that are successful is around management. If we mismanage anything in our lives, it is going to be fleeting. Think about that. Everything that you've mismanaged, go back and just become pensive for a second. Reflect back and think about all the things you mismanaged, and are they in your life today? Probably not. Okay? So what we want to talk about today is how do we prevent ourselves to get into, or get out of, I should say, a financial distress situation. Okay, if you're there, I'm going to give you some things that can help you. If you're in a financial crunch right now, I'm going to give you some things to help you. I'm not talking about running down to your local payday loan and getting into that mess. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about take your little book out, start writing down everything that you start spending money on. You're going to start to see a trend. Like, man, I spent that much on this? Do I really need that? Because sometimes we think we need something and it's not a need or a necessity, it's a want. Our wants will get us into trouble. Our necessities will keep us on the right path, and it'll help us to be disciplined. So what do you do when you're in financial stress? You lost your job, okay? You had a major crisis, car broke down, or you had a major bill, and everything is just hitting the fan, right? What do you do, okay? Do you call your mom, you call your dad, you call your neighbor, you call your friend? You could do that. You could sell some stuff, Have you ever gone into your closet and look at all the clothes you don't wear? There's all kinds of different online platforms out there where you could sell your clothes. You know what? You can only wear one pair of pants at a time, or I guess you can put on two. Kind of silly, but you could do some things to get yourself out of financial stress. It's perspective. And if you look at people that have a lot of money, they don't worry about money. What they do, they worry about ideas. They worry about servicing their customers. They worry about how can I make my product or my service better, because dollars follow ideas. So I want you to get out a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to write down all of the things that you do good. It could be organization. It could be writing. It could be giving words of encouragement. It could be, hey, I like baking stuff, or I like cooking meals, or I like doing this, or I like doing that. I want you to write all those different things down. And I want you to figure out how you can take those things and start to monetize those. Do you know there are older folks that need cooking? They need somebody to come in and cook. There are people that need somebody to come in and clean. There are some people that need errands being done. If you look online, you see all of these things happening, or you see all these different platforms that do these different things, but there are still people that don't trust these online portals and systems, or they just don't know how to use them. You could be that bridge over troubled water to get yourself out of a financial stressful situation. But you got to think. When we get into a financial situation, the first thing we think of is, I need money. No, you need an idea. That's the first thing you need when you're in a financial pinch. It's not, I need money, I need money. How can I take what I already have with my gifts and skills and turn those things around to generate money? And I got to couple this, because you can generate money, right? But if you're not allocating the money correctly and it's gone out frivolously to wants and not needs, you're still going to be back in the same situation. That's why you need to start capturing what you're spending money on. I went to Starbucks yesterday. Actually, it was Barnes and Nobles out in Lakewood, and they had a little cafe in there. And I was vacillating because I was just going around. I was looking at some books, trying to figure out what book I'm going to read next and all this good stuff. And I said, gosh, I'm parched and I want something to drink. And I had another associate there with me. And I said, okay, let's go get something to drink. And then I was like, gosh, I got my black book here. I got to write this transaction down. And I was trying to make a decision between my parch and my thirstiness, opposed to writing it down, because it gets tired, because you start going, nah, I'll wait. But I was so parched, I had had a drink all day, and I was like, I need something to drink. So I ended up writing it down. But then when I start looking back through my transactions, I start to see patterns. Do you know everything in your life results around patterns and habits? You know, successful people develop good habits, and they stick to those good habits, and that's why they're successful. Unsuccessful people just kind of, they're like, you know, and granted, I love butterflies, but, you know, they just kind of float around or what have you, no rhyme or reason. If you want to be successful and you want yourself out of financial distress, think of an idea. Write it down. Write all the skills down or whatever, and think about how you can monetize those skills, side hustle, whatever that is. And then what I want you to do is get another little small black book or notepad or whatever you can keep with you. I carried around in my pocket. And you write down all those transactions to see where your money's being allocated to. Why do you think they come up with these platforms like Robinhood, right? Or, you know, there's another platform, I forgot the name, but it's, you take your change and and they reinvest the difference, because they realize that there's opportunities out there, because what you and I won't do, someone has figured it out to monetize what you and I couldn't do. Uber, Lyft, you know, the Robin Hoods, you know, all of these different things out there, Postmates, Grubhub, all of these different things, because they know that, hey, wait a minute. People are sitting at home. They want to eat. They don't want to go out. I'll bring it to you. Now every restaurant has some form of delivery service, you know what, to get the food to you. That is called ingenuity. That's called thinking outside of the box. And you can do the same, but just do it on a smaller scale. So that's one way to get yourself out of financial distress. Another thing is you have to change your mentality on how you view money. You have to say to yourself, you know what? I am going to receive. I deserve to receive. I am going to be in control of my money. I am not going to be a slave to money. I said on the last podcast, all my life I was a slave to money. You know what? Because I was chasing after money instead of chasing after ideas, instead of chasing out after how to help clients and how to service people and how to be a resource to people. That's how money works. Money follows ideas. Money follows the hard work. And I talked about grinding the last podcast. Successful people grind. They figure things out. They're up late. They're up early in the morning. They're trying to figure out what's the next iteration of their business, the next iteration of their success. They're trying to figure this out, put it down on paper. They become quiet. Turn off the TV. Turn off the radio. Turn off, all of these different distractions so you can really listen to that inner voice that's going to direct you on how to get out of your financial distress. Sometimes we're so distracted. We go here, we go there, and then and then we look at the end of the week and we go, God, how did I get here? I didn't do any of the things that I wanted to accomplish because we allowed ourselves to go there. We allowed ourselves to just kind of float along the week with no rhyme or reason. And our money does the same thing. Our money will do the same thing. So getting out of financial distress, write it down. Write down all the skills. Whatever you do, landscaping. Man, I love planning and do you know people in your neighborhood like me? I am not a green thumb. I hate to go out in the yard and dig a hole and cut and rake and all that other stuff. That's not my forte. My wife loves it. I don't. But there are other people out there that would love to have a knock on their door and go, I see all these weeds around your pavers. I see all these weeds on your sidewalk, in your flower beds. You know what? I charge X amount of dollars to get all those weeds out. Do you know people pay you for that? People will pay you to come into the house and just like, hey, I just need you to clean my bathrooms twice a week or once a week or whatever that is, whatever frequency, and they'll pay you for that. The problem is not that it's the money. The problem is we lack ideas. The problem is that we lack motivation. The problem is that we want the easy road. The problem is that we want someone to always sow into us, but we never sow into anybody else. That's the problem. The problem is never money. Money's everywhere. Money is there. And I'm going to say this, and this is so interesting. Do you know that the Bible talks more about money than it talks about love? Oh, yeah, God is love. Yeah, yes, he is. But if you go and start reading your scriptures, he talks about money more so than about love. Why? Why is that? You ever thought about that? Why does the Bible talk more about money than it talks about love? One, we're going to need money to get through here. Number two, if we're not careful, money can rule our lives. That's why I said earlier, we don't want to be a slave to money, right? We want money to work for us. And when you're a slave to money, you'll do anything to get it. And then what it does, there's that moral decay of your very foundations of your roots because you're chasing after money. And then that's when you get bamboozled and you get into bad business ideas. You get into bad business ventures. You get into a relationship with somebody based on the hustle trying to get over, and it'll bamboozle you. And you'll find yourself just running after money and your life will be unfulfilled. So it talks about all those things and keeping money in the right perspective. When you look at money as a tool, as a resource, how it could help somebody else in addition to yourself, you'll categorically put it in the right place, right? You won't put money as your God. You'll put money in the right place as being a tool and a resource so I can help myself and I can help others. So I'm serving you this information today because I was doing a lot of thinking about this, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come in here and we could talk about some financial terms and what have you. And I said, no. Everybody's talking about the $1.9 trillion package that's been passed. Like I said, there's an abundance of money. Money's not the issue. Say it again. Money is not the issue. It's how you govern yourself around money is the issue. And I've learned that over the years. I have made some bad decisions. I have gotten $100,000 in my pocket one time and woof, gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Do you know if I would have took that $100,000 back 20 some years ago or 15 years ago and invested that and watched that investment grow and put the right appropriations on that money, I'd probably be sitting on $1 million+ today. It's funny. They say hindsight's better than 2020. It really is. But you have to have vision for your life. You have to have vision for your money. What do you think you're deserving of? What do you think you deserve? And then get after it. And then start changing your mentality around money. And when you do that, I guarantee you the world is going to start opening up. See, people with money that have money and their money grows, they don't look for pie in the sky. They look for ideas. They look for entrepreneurs. They look for people that have big dreams. They look for people that are going places that they're like, you know what, I'm going to take my money and put it with him because he's going places or she's going places. That's how money grows. Like I said earlier, it follows ideas. And that's where you need to be opening up your mind. Turn off all of the tweets and the text and all of the Facebook posts and all of this other stuff or whatever. Have a time where you can go in there once a day, but don't get yourself so, immersed into it where you can't get into a good book and learn about doing some things. Pick up a different skill set. YouTube. I mean, there's so much information on YouTube at choke a horse. It is just enriched information about whatever kind of concept or whatever thing, anything that you want to learn out there. You can do it, but you got to change your mentality. Stop saying you're broke. Stop saying I've got lack. Stop saying I don't know how I'm going to make it. Stop saying all of these negative things because what you're doing, you're reinforcing your subconscious to believe all of that. And when your subconscious picks up all of that negative talk, that self-talk that you've been giving yourself, you can't help but be broke. Stop doing that to yourself and start changing the self-talk. I will succeed. I will change my mentality. Money will flow to me. I will come up with an idea. I will help this person. I will help that person. And guess what? You'll start to see your financial distress change. Look, I'm not telling you, this because I just read it somewhere. I'm telling you this because I've lived it and I'm living it now. When you start to change your mentality on things, like I said, shut off the boob tube. Shut off all that noise. The latest gossip on Facebook, the latest tweet on this person and that person, whatever. All of those things are distractions to your goal. You get busy on your goal and you get busy on grinding out that focus. Guess what? Money's going to flow because money, like I said, it follows ideas. It follows vision. It follows dreams. And when you start putting that one foot in front of the other, guess what? Reality starts to take place. Your life starts to change. Your whole atmosphere, your whole environment changes. The people around you start to change. You ain't hanging around the same folk that ain't going nowhere. Everything starts to change. The move and the vibes are different because you start to see yourself in a different light because the self-talk in your head is totally different. You got a different mentality. Okay? Go to the library, go to Barnes & Noble, go online, go to Audible, find you some good books, put it in the car, start to retrain your mind. Sometimes you got to deprogram your mind because you got a bunch of junk in there. Done it, doing it, continuing it. We've been programmed to believe certain things that are simply not true, that are keeping you from your destiny, that is keeping you from your goals, that are keeping you from the life you want to live. See, you thought the show was all about money and like, oh God, how do I get the money and how I hustle the money and how I, do this and do that. And I could take 10 cent, make it into $1, and take $1, make it into 10 and 10 into 100. Yes, that you could do that. But if you don't have a right mentality around that, you're still going to be on that wheel like that gerbil. Just keep it running, ain't going nowhere. Yeah, I said ain't going nowhere. We need to change our mentality in reference to our dreams, our visions, and our goals. Because once you do that, money flows. It'll find you. Money will find you. Do you know money will find you? It will definitely find you. Come up with a good idea and just talk to a couple people. Talk to a couple people about your idea and they're like, that sounds good. Do you know they'll move heaven and earth in their finances to find money for you? Oh, I know what I'm talking about. I've done it. And people have done it with me because of the idea. Because you've orchestrated that thing within you. And now you're birthing it to the world. And you're telling the world, you know what, world? I'm coming out. I'm coming out swinging. I got a great idea. I've got this going on. I got that going on. And when someone sees that spark and they see that enthusiasm out of you, and they see that you're excited about your idea, etc., guess what? Someone out there is going to get behind you and they're going to rally you on. So money, financial distress, you know what? It's self-induced. It's self-induced. We get ourselves in financial distress. We get ourselves in trouble because the way we act towards our money, how we appropriate funds, how we spend money, how we view money. I've had some people tell me, well, look, I'm only going to live once, so I'm going to spend everything. I ain't going to leave nothing to my children. What a sad legacy. What a sad statement. I'm challenging you today. You're in financial stress? Write down all those skills. Challenge yourself. Shut down all the media stuff and get pensive. Get into your meditative closet and start listening to that inner voice. Change your self-talk from negative to positive. Start saying what you do have, what you will do, all of those different things. And I guarantee you, over time, you'll start to see some dramatic changes in your behavior towards money. And more importantly, the change in you. Yeah, the change in you. See, money changes when you change. When you start looking at your money from a different perspective, the money reflects back what you're already thinking about, what you're already doing to it. It's a reflection of you. Think about it. That's how money works. If money says, hey, if I do my money and I'm careless with it and I throw it out in the street and I just do whatever with it and there's no rhyme or reason to it, money's going to do just that. But if I take it and I invest it, I sow it, money's going to go, well, gee, wait a minute. He invested me. He sowed into this. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to return it. Money is reflective of what your actions are. So if I can say anything today in your financial distress, change the way you look at it. Change your persona. Change your dimension. Change your perspective. That's how money will find you when you change. Because when we chase after money runs fast. I mean, I think money runs like the fastest 100-yard dash that I've ever seen. You get $1, you put it in that machine, it's gone. You may get something in return for it, but that dollar is gone. Money is the quickest, fastest, swiftest runner I've ever seen. Okay? It'll take Jesse Owens up out of here. It'll take Carl Lewis out of here. I mean, it is fast. So what we've got to do, we've got to learn to make sure that we do our money right. Thank you so much for listening to me today. Hopefully you have picked up, like I always say, a couple of little tidbits along the way. Thank you for watching Hole in My Pocket. Tune in with me again. We're going to be talking about some fun stuff around money. And like I said, change your mentality. You'll get out of this financial distress. Trust me. Change your mentality. Thank you again. Regas Sager with Hole in My Pocket. Take care.